Hey everyone, it's Karen. I'm so excited about this class. It is all about shoulder mobility, so let's get going. Hey everyone, welcome. It's Karen at Common Bond Yoga, and what I want to do with you today is offer you 8 exercises, movements for improving your shoulder and your neck stability and posture, and reducing tension and pain in those 2 areas of your body. So the first one we're going to do, I'm actually going to use, I'm using paper plates in one of the videos I'm shooting today, so I'm just going to use them because they're here. But what you want to have is a exercise band. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. You can still do the stuff without it. And then something that's smooth, because I'll show you why. What we're going to do, we're going to start with one of the biggest things that every time I teach, Benjamin makes fun of me because I'm always going like this and doing the funny double chin face. But that to me is a big reason why we have so much pain in our neck, is because our heads are forward like this and the chin is lifted. So what we want to do is, and you can even do this just sitting, is I put one finger on my chin and one finger on at the base of my skull, and kind of push this back and pull this up. Okay, so that's the proper alignment in the neck. And then I just like to do it here on the back with a little something slick. You can put like a magazine or something underneath, or if you're on a hardwood floor, you can probably just do it without. But anyway, I'm going to tuck my chin, and then all I'm going to do, and I'm going to press my shoulders back, and then all I'm going to do is turn my head, keeping that tuck of the chin. I'm just going to turn my head from side to side. So I'm going to go back to center and to the right. And just do this a few times. Now, what's going to possibly happen is your shoulder is going to lift up. I'm noticing when I turn my head to the right, my left shoulder, especially on that side, wants to come up away from the floor. So press the shoulder back down into the floor. If your head is used to being in that position with the chin forward, your chin will pop up in the middle of this exercise. So if you need to, every time you come back to the center, just remember to tuck that chin, okay? And this is something, like I said, you can do seated, and just turn your head from side to side. It's a little bit easier to keep your neck in perfect alignment by laying down on the mat, okay? So the next one's going to be a shoulder mobility. So what I'm going to do on my back is I'm going to take my right knee and cross it over, like I'm getting ready for my spinal twist here. You can put your left hand on your thigh if you want. And this is called open book. So I'm going to reach over with my right hand, and then I'm going to draw it across my chest and twist, and look with your head as well, with your neck in that perfect alignment, and then slide your hand back and forward and slide it back. So now I'm moving my spine, including my neck. So now I'm going into the middle back, the upper back, and the middle back. I'm not really turning much through the low back. For the most part, we want to increase stability in the low back and then mobility in the rest of the spine. Okay? And I'm going to do one more because it feels good, and then I'll switch sides. So roll onto the hips. I forgot to mention, so the hips are stacked, so I'm going to tuck that right hip underneath the left hip, and I'm going to reach my left arm in front and then slide it across the chest and reach back, and then bring it forward. And it feels good to kind of hold that when you reach back. You can hold it there for a few extra breaths if you want. I'm not really counting how many I'm doing on each side because I cannot count and talk at the same time. I can't even count and not talk at the same time. So just try to do an even amount on each side. Notice how the sides differ. And I'm going to do one more on that side. Ah, feels good. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and come up, and we're gonna just do some cat and cow, but the way I'm gonna do it differently is instead of moving the spine all at once, I'm gonna move it vertebra by vertebra. So I'm gonna actually start with the tailbone. So I'm gonna start in neutral here, and then I'm gonna start by tilting the pelvis and letting the belly start to drop towards the back. Then I'm gonna move up to the middle back, upper back, and then finally the head lifts. But once again, make sure when you're in that fullest extension, you're not going forward with the chin. You can certainly look up, but also press the head back. And then I'm gonna start with the tailbone again. So I'm gonna tuck the tail. I'm gonna round the low back, the middle back, the upper back, and then drop the head, okay? And then lift the tailbone up, middle back, upper back. And pause here for just a second and feel how you are activating your back muscles. And then tuck the tail. So, got to be patient with this one. With a lot of these exercises, if you're used to moving really quick through stuff, this is more about going really, really slow and focusing on what you're doing. And I'm going to let that be my last one. Okay, this one's really, really simple, and you only have to do it a couple times. This is something I just learned. A lot of these exercises I learned from, she's a physical therapist. I can't remember her last name, but on Instagram, she's Doc Jen Fit. And she has these amazing mobility exercises. So all you're gonna do is shrug and drop your shoulders. So sit in that perfect alignment posture, and then just shrug and drop. And it's kind of like a really active pushing down. Shrug, drop. Make sure you're breathing when you're doing all this stuff. Shrug and drop. And this is something, again, you can just kind of do if you're sitting at your desk working. Here's another one, upper back rotation. So I'm gonna, perfect alignment, chin is tucked, grab the elbows, and what you're trying to focus on doing is just try to turn through the upper back, okay? So I'm gonna turn, I'm not gonna turn very far because I'm just turning in my upper back to the left and to the right. It's kind of hard to isolate the different sections of the spine. That's why it's good to do this stuff. Now what you can do is you can add an extension. So I'm going to turn and arch back a little bit, and then come back to middle, turn, arch back, middle. Very small, subtle movements. And I'll stop with that one. Okie dokie, what do we got going next? Okay, so CARS stands for CAR, Controlled Articulated Rotations. And this is something that you can do at every joint in your body to keep it more mobile. And so I'm going to show you some shoulder CARS. It might be better for you to go over to a wall and do this. I'm not going to go all the way over to the wall because you probably won't be able to see me. Okay, so you can do this seated. I'm going to stand up for you, and I'm going to start with my left arm. Now, the goal here is to try to do this without moving anything else in the body, keeping everything strong. So this is going to actually work your core to hold everything nice and stable as you move just the arm. So I'm going to have my arm down by my side, just like this, with my thumb pointed forward. And then I'm going to take my arm forward. Make sure your knees are soft. Just notice my knees were locked. And now keep that rib cage pulled in. Now, once you get to that point, you're going to get to a point where you cannot obviously go back any further. So I'm going to slowly start to turn my arm bone so that my palm is now facing you. And then I'll take my arm. My body wants to turn to the left, but I'm not going to let it. Now, this is one of those ones that you're going to want to speed up, but Slower the better. Okay, so the way you finish is like this, with your palm rotated out, thumb pointing back behind you. Now we got to go back again. So go back. Keep breathing. And you're going to feel this a lot more if you're up against a wall. Now I'm going to, when I get to that top part, I'm going to rotate my arm bone. So the palm is now facing in. Slowly bring that arm back down by your side. Okay. Now you want to try and do at least, I'm going to do this one a little bit quicker, but I want you to do these slow as you can. And, try to do at least 3 on each side every day. Okay, let's do the other side. So remember, palm facing in, turn it up, bring it up. When it gets to that point, you can't go back any further. You're going to rotate the arm bone so the palm is now facing out. Slide that hand down and all the way by your side. And then come back. So what we're doing, essentially, is we're rotating the arm bone in the shoulder socket. Okay, so you're just doing this, and which can be really good for stuff like frozen shoulder. I better do another one. This one gets, it's hard to keep it slow. You want to just rush through it, but it's really important to go slow with it. And you'll even notice, like, you start to sweat. You're like, why am I sweating? I'm just moving my arm around in a circle really, really slowly. Okay, so that's shoulder cars. We have 2 more things, and this is where I'm going to incorporate the band. One is just a pull apart. Now, you can create resistance on your own without a band, but whenever I've taught pull aparts, I've always just taught them like this, straight back to the chest. And that's a great one, okay? But we want to work that pull apart in all the different ranges of motion. So first of all, let me tell you, when you're pulling that band apart, I see a lot of people bend their wrists. Keep your wrist totally straight, okay? That's going to hurt your wrist over time if you've got weight on it and you're pulling with it bent, okay? And then the other thing is, I see this happen a lot, where the spine starts moving, the hip starts moving. Once again, just like our cars, we want to keep everything steady and stable except for the arms and the shoulder blades moving in and out, okay? So I'll show you from the front. I'm going to take it in all of these different positions, kind of like I'm moving around a clock. And you don't need like super massive resistance here to get the back activated. And then I'll show you from the back what that looks like. Soft knees, strong core, just kind of, I'm not even being really super methodical with exactly where I'm going with the arms. I'm just kind of moving, pulling apart in all these different directions of high and low. All right. And then finally, the last one we're going to do, banded shoulder rolls. Of course, you can do these without the band, but so I'm going to stand on the band, and you can do this if you have weight. You could hold like 2 soup cans if you want. I don't know why I always say soup cans. Campbell's soup, it has to be chicken noodle. Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Okay, and then just all you're doing is circle the shoulders up, back, and you can even do this if you think about that cars. This is another, this is scapular cars, where you go in, up, back, and down. And then back, up, forward, and down. You can do them that articulated if you want. And then you can do a few just smooth circles going in both directions. Once again, try to keep everything steady in the rest of your body and your neck in perfect alignment, chin tucked. All right, so those are my 8 shoulder, neck mobility exercises for you. I hope that you enjoy them. I hope they leave you feeling wonderful. Namaste.